Welcome to the deep dive. In a world just flooded with news, it's tough to stay really informed. Our job here is to cut through all that noise, get you the key insights. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the very busy world of Donald Trump. We've pulled together a stack of recent sources. You've got AP, Reuters, El País, even official sites like whitehouse.gov, plus some historical context from Britannica, Wikipedia, the whole gamut, really. We want to give you a clear snapshot of where things stand now, focusing on his second term, recent foreign policy stuff, and his latest financial picture.
Exactly. Our goal today is to unpack these updates, connect the dots from all these different sources you've shared, and hopefully help you understand not just what's happening, but maybe why it matters. Give you that context, show the different angles from the material.
Okay, good. So maybe to set the stage, let's do a quick reintroduction to Donald John Trump himself. Born June 14, 1946, Queens, New York. And before politics, most people knew him as a big businessman, right? Reality TV star, too. He led the Trump Organization, building that whole empire, luxury homes, hotels, golf courses everywhere. And The Art of the Deal, that was a huge bestseller for him.
Right. And crucially for today, his time as president. He was the 45th president, 2017 to 2021. But the key thing now is he was reelected, became the 47th president, sworn in January 20th, 2025. So his return to the White House just this year. That's the frame for everything we're discussing.
That return, yeah. That's the big context. So coming back into office, what did the sources say about his priorities? What were the pledges for term two?
Well, the sources are pretty consistent on this. His public statements really point to extending what he focused on in his first term. So things like more tax cuts, continued deregulation, building up the military, and definitely continued strong focus on border security. Those seem to be the core areas he's pushing again.
Right, sticking to those themes. Okay, and speaking of his current actions, something pretty major happened just this week, didn't it? June 21st. What was that about the U.S. and Iran?
Yes, that was significant. On the 21st, President Trump announced that the U.S. had carried out precision airstrikes, targeted 3 Iranian nuclear sites, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. And what's really highlighted in the reports is that these were coordinated with Israel. That's a key detail. Trump himself called the strikes, quote, spectacularly successful.
Hmm.
And he followed up with a pretty stark warning to Iran. Pursue peace or, well, face more action.
Wow, okay. Coordinated strikes, a direct warning. That's definitely going to cause ripples. What have the reactions been like, both here in the U.S. and, internationally?
It's quite varied, as you'd expect. Domestically, within the U.S., you saw strong support, generally, from Republican lawmakers. They framed it mostly around national security, protecting allies. But then on the other side, some Democrats were quick to call for congressional oversight. Some even brought up invoking the War Powers Act. That law meant to limit presidential power in committing troops.
Right, the War Powers Act. So definite division there. What about overseas?
Internationally, Russia was critical, called the strikes destabilizing, warned it might actually strengthen hardliners in Iran. But then, sort of unexpectedly, Pakistan nominated Trump for the 2026 Nobel Peace Prize. They cited his role in regional diplomacy. So, yeah, a really mixed bag of responses globally shows how complex it all is.
Nobel nomination on one hand, criticism on the other. Definitely complex. So while all that's playing out on the world stage, there's also this other piece, is finances. A recent disclosure came out for 2025. What did that show?
Yeah, the financial disclosure gives us another angle. It reported income of over $600 million, which, according to the filing, boosted his net assets to around $1.6 billion.
$1.6 billion. Okay, that's quite a number. Did the disclosure break down where that income came from? Any surprises there?
It did give a breakdown. Golf and hospitality are still huge drivers for him, around $378 million just in the U.S., plus another, about $22 million in management fees. You see big names listed like Mar-a-Lago, the Florida resorts, Jupiter, Doral, West Palm Beach. Those are major income sources. Interestingly, crypto and NFTs showed up too. Made about $1.16 million there, which is, something.
$1 million from crypto. It's there, but compared to the $378 million from golf and hospitality.
Exactly. It's still a pretty small piece of the overall pie. It suggests maybe that the core business, the real estate and hospitality, that's still very much the foundation. Less of a pivot into those newer digital markets than maybe some might expect, still rooted in those traditional assets.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. We've looked at his re-election, the goals for this second term, then this major recent event, the Iran strikes and all the varied reactions, and now this latest snapshot of his financial situation. What's the big picture takeaway here?
Well, I think this deep dive really shows a figure who continues to be a major force on the global stage. His actions clearly generate strong reactions, very different reactions, both at home and abroad. And at the same time, he's maintaining these really significant and clearly very profitable business interests alongside the presidency.
That combination definitely stands out, which leads us to a final thought, maybe a question for you, our listener, to consider. When you see this convergence, you have renewed political power, these decisive, high stakes foreign policy moves, and this vast, resilient business empire all operating simultaneously. How do you think these different facets might influence his approach to leadership, his unique approach perhaps? And thinking longer term, what kind of legacy might that combination create in the second term? Something to mull over. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those big questions.